What an unfortunate performance that was.
Oh, no shot.
I'm right. You're wrong. See ya.
No. Dude, you're wrong.
Beyond the box score here, live from Buffalo. Cole Johnson, Connor Priester, special guest Paul Barker here with us. So we got a lot to get to today, Connor. Football right around the corner, week 4. We just had a crazy game last night to kick it off on Thursday Night Football. After a wild week 3 that just ended on Monday, which a lot of us are still confused about. Just a lot of things going on in the NFL.
It's flying by, too. I feel like just yesterday we were waiting for week 1.
Exactly.
But last night, we were talking about it. It was definitely a great... It's what you want to see in primetime games, especially on a Thursday night. 2 offense and what we thought defensive powerhouses going at it. We both know that both teams have very prolific defenses and offenses, but the offenses show up to play. The crazy stat of 5 different receivers from both sides, or combined each side, having over 100 receiving yards. For a league that wants more offense, that's exactly what you want in a Thursday night primetime game. But, we were talking, we thought it was either going to be a defensive showing or an absolute shootout, and it turned out to be the latter.
Yeah, hopefully maybe a preview of the NFC title game. That would be pretty interesting to see. But all right, we got Priester's picks and Patience or Panic once again coming around the corner. But first, big story of the week coming in. There are 5 first-round quarterbacks drafted in this year's NFL draft, and 4 of them this week are going to be starting. Sam Darnold is the only one to start week 1. Josh Allen came into the mix. Baker Mayfield got a shot, and now Josh Rosen named the starter for Arizona. So that kind of leads into what we want to debate here is which quarterback really is going to be the one who stands out, has the long, successful career. We're talking 12 to 15 years from now, which quarterback is still going to be making plays in this league. Because if you get a class like that, it's not often that they're all going to pan out. At least 3 of them are probably going to flake out in the next few years. So, Connor, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
I'm trying to keep this as unbiased as possible.
I don't know where this is going.
But let me explain first for a minute. You look at the guys in the draft, and you look at what today's quarterback is supposed to be like. I understand we haven't seen Lamar Jackson a lot in NFL action besides preseason. We've seen him line up in a wide receiver spot or in the backfield a couple of times for Baltimore in that weird formation that they have. But what do you get with Lamar Jackson? A strong arm, but a guy who can run.
Tyrod Taylor.
Basically, you want in this league what everybody says that you want is a guy who can stay in the pocket, take a hit, and have a strong arm and run an offense properly. All right, Baker. I understand there's a lot of things you can look at with Baker Mayfield, but he impressed the hell out of me when he came in for Tyrod after Tyrod's injury. All right, but we're going to get into a segment again later where I don't want to go out and make super bold predictions on these guys because we haven't seen them in NFL action. But if I have to say that there's a guy that's going to be have the best career and the longest career in the NFL, I would go out on a limb after I look at Josh Rosen more in NFL competition. I say it would have to be I would throw out Darnold and I would throw out Lamar Jackson, but I think it would be a competition between Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, and Baker Mayfield. Josh Allen having the arm. Josh Rosen, I don't know the full scouting report from college because I don't pay enough attention to college football, and I'll admit that. And I told you that I'm not huge into college football. But Baker, we saw what he can do. He can basically do it all. But Josh Allen, with the way that he has his leadership qualities, the way that he can get people to listen to him and follow him, and then his arm, and once he gets smarter, I think he can be the answer the Bills are looking for under center. Why are you wiping your face?
I got an itch, but can you pick one?
Pick one right now?
If you had to pick one, could you just name 3?
I told you, it's hard.
It's
a great quarterback class.
Just give me one.
I would say Baker right now. But I think Josh Allen will give him a run for his money.
Okay.
I think Baker is a guy that can really do it all. We saw what Allen could do with his legs too. But when you think of Baker Mayfield, you think of the smaller guy who moves around in the pocket and can make plays with his legs more than Josh Allen, rather than having a strong arm where you see Josh Allen, you see that big giant frame and how athletically built he is, and then you think of his arm, how he can sling a ball 70 yards without effort, basically.
All right.
But
Okay. So we got Josh Allen here / Baker Mayfield. I think. All right. So here's my thought on Baker Mayfield. He is one of those guys that is going to be a star no matter what. I mentioned this to Connor earlier. He has so much of a history and so much of him coming out of college, the way his story, basically his story coming out of college. He got cut from Texas Tech. He was a backup, blah, blah, blah. Goes to Oklahoma, wins the starting spot over a quarterback who was phenomenal the year prior. He just came and stole the job right from Trevor Knight.
as a walk-on.
As a walk-on, he leads Oklahoma to a bowl game his junior year. Senior year brings him to the college football playoff, losing a narrow overtime game to Georgia in the Rose Bowl. He brought so much attention. He wins the Heisman. He has his off-the-field issues. He has the police video of him trying to run. Everything is made for Baker Mayfield to be a star. And he showed that when he got his opportunity on Thursday night last week against the Jets for the win. He comes in on an injured Tyrod and immediately makes an impact, drives the Browns down twice, scores, catches a 2-point conversion. He wins the game. That's what Baker Mayfield's going to do. He's going to bring that wow factor. But again, we've only seen one game from him. So I'd like to say it'd be Baker Mayfield, but here's the thing. He's going to be a star no matter whether he succeeds greatly or not. He's just one of those guys where you put his face and he's going to be in the middle of everything. He's going to be in the middle of the media, people talking about him, whether he's subpar or great or terrible. And I think he's going to stick around. He might be around for the next 10 years, but he's not going to be at top. My top guy who I think is going to be here, is going to stay here in the NFL, be relevant, be winning games, and turn their franchise around is going to be Sam Darnold. I don't know what it is about Sam. He came in to USC. He was a young kid. He had the tools looking like Andrew. He's like an Andrew Luck. Hopefully he stays healthy, unlike Andrew Luck has. But Sam Darnold just has those tools. He's the youngest one out of these 5. He's the youngest one. And he has already shown he has those big playmaking abilities. He throws a pick 6 in his first career pass. But then for him to bounce back from that, throw 2 more touchdown passes, and lead the Jets to a blowout win on the road on Monday Night Football, that proved to me a lot about this kid.
The thing is
I'm going to go Sam Darnold.
That I see with Darnold, too, is I do agree with you, the fact that he can make plays, but right now I think he's the quarterback right now who has made the most mistakes.
He has, but that's what you're going to get out of
Exactly. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but right now,
field.
but I'm basing it off of right now. All right, because we can't predict the future. We can analyze, but that's the thing that we're going to get into later too. That I would really like to talk about, and we talked about this prior. But the reason why I solely made that decision is because Sam Darnold has made way too many mistakes so far. But then you also got to look at other quarterbacks in the league who you could almost classify as elite. The guy that comes to mind who makes a lot of mistakes but is still damn good at what he does is Matt Stafford. Makes a lot of mistakes, but I would put him top 6 in the league right now. Top 7 maybe. I think he earned that contract.
Yeah. I think Matthew Stafford's a good quarterback. I feel like he hasn't had enough around him. He's kind of one of those guys that's just gotten unlucky year after year. He's still yet to win a playoff game. That's the thing that jumps out to me. How good he is still yet to win a playoff game. That scares me.
It's a whole different animal, Cole.
That scares me a little bit about Matt Stafford. That's why I like the man, but I don't know if he has that it factor that some of these guys coming up might have. And that's another thing. We'll get into that soon, like you said, Connor, what we're going to talk about. But it's very hard to rank quarterbacks right now after only 3 weeks, especially for the rookie guys who are their first shot at the league. if I were to rank all the quarterbacks in order now, obviously at the top you got your Rodgers, Breeze, Brady, top tier. And then Russell Wilson, Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, blah, 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 going down. You need a few more weeks to evaluate the rookie guys. Like Patrick Mahomes has been the most efficient quarterback probably this year, but he's only played 3 games ever. Sam Darnold's only played 3 games. Josh Allen's only played 2 games. It's very hard to base that, and that's what we'll just jump right into it now. When is it okay
I'm gonna
to start rating
this,
guys?
I almost want to say after their first year, but then sometimes you also want to say that might be too soon. But here's my problem when we first had this discussion: is guys will be the media, fans, people on social, everything are so quick to jump on somebody for being bad or good, but they won't even look at just if somebody is doing average. So say for instance, this is what really bugged me. Josh Allen went out, along with the Bills' defense, led an upset over the Minnesota Vikings. One of the biggest upsets in recent memory, if not, since the merger. And people are automatically going to assume, if they didn't watch the game, oh my God, Josh Allen is going to be the best quarterback since Tom Brady came in the league, because he just led that upset. But as a Bills fan, as a guy who wants to see Josh Allen as a rookie quarterback succeed, Josh Allen did not lead that team to the victory. Did he help? Did he play a huge role? Absolutely. But the thing that made the biggest factor in that game was the defense. The defense came out and they balled out. They did everything that they were supposed to do. They did everything right. Minimal mistakes. When you give Josh Allen such good field position and cause 3 turnovers, I mean, it's almost expected to put up 27 points in the first half. If you're going to force that many turnovers, force 3 and outs, they didn't get a first down until, I want to say, the second half. I'm forgetting on the fly, but like when the defense plays that good and you're giving a rookie quarterback in your offense that many shots to go up big before the half, it's expected. It shouldn't be, your quarterback going out and leading your team. If your defense is doing that for you, that's how it should happen. I mean, they had multiple drives where they started in Minnesota territory already. Mm-hmm. That, and with guys being overvalued way too early or undervalued way too early. There's different instances where, again, I'll go back to Buffalo. Yes, you can completely undervalue Nathan Peterman. He threw 5 picks in his very first start. He looked terrible against Baltimore. Did he impress some people in preseason? Yeah, but again, that's preseason football. But I think that's a case where, yes, you can actually make an assessment on somebody's skill level, is when they're playing that badly. But then you look at Patrick Mahomes, I technically would say I would put him in the same boat as these rookie quarterbacks. We didn't see him last year. This is our first time really seeing what Patrick Mahomes looks like in regular season football. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to go out and claim that this guy's going to win MVP and say he's the best quarterback this year, because we don't know what could happen. But I will tell you this. I think Mahomes will be consistent the rest of the year. And I'll get into this when we get into our picks this week. I think Mahomes is going to be one of probably top 5 this year because of who he has around him. So many weapons in that Kansas City team. We talk about the Rams. We talk about the Vikings having weapons. Look at Kansas City, too. I mean, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce, arguably one of the best tight ends in the NFL. Neck and neck with Gronk, in my opinion. Tyreek Hill can probably beat almost any defensive back when it comes to speed-wise. Sammy Watkins is Sammy Watkins. You can put him out wide, you can put him in the slot, and he'll excel.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing. So, you're talking about how they overvalue guys too soon.
Correct.
Yes, and we've seen that. There's examples. We saw it these last 2 weeks with Josh Allen, and we saw it with Baker Mayfield. People are already in love with Baker Mayfield, and he played a half of football. So that happens. It really does. And the bottom line is sometimes it can ruin people, and this is what we talked about earlier. How about, you mentioned it, in Denver a few years ago, after Peyton Manning's era. Who looked really good in 1 year?
Brock.
Brock Osweiler.
Brock.
And he signed a ridiculous
The man got paid.
contract. He got paid. He came out the next year and got benched to the likes of Trevor Siemian. He got benched.
He didn't do diddly squat, and that man got paid for performing average to slightly above average for taking over for a fallen over Peyton Manning.
Because he excelled in his first year, he got overvalued and he got paid, and look what happened. Another example. What was the other one we were talking about earlier?
Jimmy G.
Well, I was going to get to that last, but more proven examples, sure. Jimmy Garoppolo. He's made 7 starts in the NFL, 2 for a suspended Brady, 5 last year in San Francisco. He's 7-0, has not lost a start. As a starter going into the season, he became the highest paid quarterback in the league.
So
he gets hurt in week 3. He's done for the year.
That's what you got to do to get paid. Just sit behind a future Hall of Fame quarterback and then take your talent somewhere else and you'll get paid. Easy way to make a living in the NFL. Just have a couple good games to get paid. I'm not saying Jimmy G's bad, but I think he's even too early to assess.
Yeah.
I would say yes and no because he took a bad San Francisco team and didn't lose the start.
5 straight wins.
But then this year, I mean, the expectations were through the roof.
Yeah, I fully believe San Francisco had a shot at getting a wild card spot.
But in the first couple weeks, they didn't look anything better than last year.
Mm-hmm. And then, so he goes down. He's done for the year. There goes all that money. Now San Francisco is maybe going to win 5 games. Maybe. Going to be in the bottom tier once again. It's just, we hype guys up way too much so early on.
Who's the other guy you were talking about?
Sometimes it ruins their career. And it's escaping me now. I don't know who the other one was. Oh, we were talking about Dak Prescott.
Yes.
There it is. His rookie season, phenomenal. Was top 5 in quarterback rating. Brought the Dallas Cowboys to 13-3, the number 1 seed in the NFC, along with his other rookie, Zeke Elliott, in the backfield. And the thing is, you can play in Duke Park. That was an outstanding offensive line for Dallas.
Best in football.
The holes that Zeke Elliott could run through made it that much easier for Dak Prescott because he can run the football, and that leads to play action. That leads the guys going down the field beating the secondary because they are playing up on Zeke so much. He had an outstanding freshman year. Sophomore year, still okay, not the best. After that, this year, he has looked subpar at best. The first 3 games, Dallas is 1-2. They just got smoked in Seattle last week. And now they got another tough one. They're playing at home to Detroit, who always plays them well, and Detroit just came off a big one against New England. It's really so.
And that's what I mean by, like, sometimes even really assessing and saying what you think a player can be, especially a quarterback, after their rookie year, it's almost too soon because the sophomore slump is 110% fact.
Real.
It's factual, and it's incredibly real. Look at Dak. Look at a lot of other people. I mean, even in other sports, too. It's not just football.
See, here's the thing. Do you think it's psychological?
I think it might also...
gets in their heads too much?
Especially with football, where it's a game based so much around strategy, even in baseball. Especially you see a hitter, and even if you get 60 games through, you find out what a hitter's strengths and weaknesses are. You're going to adjust to that. But especially after a whole year, after trying to figure out what gets a guy out, it's going to be easier to adjust to a hitter from a pitcher standpoint. But then as a defense with a quarterback, you're going to know what this guy's tendencies are. You're going to know what he likes to do and what makes him panic and throw interceptions. How to stop him.
Yes. Hey, Paul, what do you think?
I agree. Like you guys were talking about, like baseball, relating it to baseball. People, even the NHL, Jack Eichel, after the first couple games, people start to see what he does. They could... I don't want to say guard. What's a better word? Play defense. Play defense. Shadow him better because they know and they see what he's done and what he likes to do. So basically, football, same thing. You see what a quarterback like. That's why quarterbacks have to everybody has to change with their ways. They can't just stick to the same game plan every year, every game, every play. You gotta grow, change what you do, and
It's all about tendencies.
yeah, you gotta change your tendencies every game.
A lot of pro sports comes down to adaptation, really. And if you're not willing to adapt the way you're playing, especially with the way the games are changing today, because we all know the game's changing in baseball. It's changed complete 180 from what it was back in the day. NFL's changing. It's become a complete offensive game. Any sport you can mention, it's changed. You have to be able to adapt, and that's how you're going to succeed. And speaking of adapting, just for a second, we mentioned the weapons of Kansas City, LA, Vikings. That game last night, I think, showed exactly why the NFL is turning so much into an offensive league that it's almost like college football. Because what is the one thing that comes to your head because of that? It's the NFL rule changes. We have the helmet rule. Now the quarterback roughing the passer is getting out of hand. The new catch rule.
We just mentioned that Clay Matthews just got flagged, so careful.
Oh God, sorry, Clay. But we also, and then the catch rule. We haven't talked about what's a catch anymore. We talked about it every week last season. So it's all these rules that are going in favor of the offense, and we see that last night with two teams who have great weapons, where the defense is on its heels because there are flags every play, all favoring the offense. Am I?
You're not wrong.
Stretching
no,
it
you're
here.
not. You're not stretching it at all.
It's turning into a college football game.
And what's also the one thing that also is almost a 50-50 call every time on a pass.
Pass interference.
And who always is in favor of that call?
The offense.
Usually the offense. Usually defensive pass interference. And the worst thing about it for the NFL is that it's at the spot of the foul. Take a shot deep downfield. That's something I think they definitely need to look into. In college, it's different. It's a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. It's not at the spot of the foul. I think that's what it needs to be in the NFL, because you could just take shots all game long and have a call go in your favor, and that changes the
Have
changes
zero
the
passing
game.
yards, just keep chucking it down the field and try and draw a pass interference call every time.
It changes how the game works, and we saw it last night. Perfect example. So, all right, I think we're ready.
For Priester's
We are
picks.
ready for Priester's picks.
All right. For what it's worth, last night I was going to take the Rams over Minnesota, but we won't count that. We won't count that this week because the game's already over. This week, starting Sunday, 1 o'clock, Cincinnati at Atlanta. I got Atlanta at home. It's kind of an easy one there. I mean, Cincinnati has been playing fairly well this year.
Did you
Which
say
is
easy?
I think so at
You
home.
just said
at
easy.
home for Atlanta, I think so. There's going to be a big bounce back game. I think that they're going to put up a lot of points on Cincy. Matt Ryan finally found his stride last week.
Their offense might be great, but you know that they have 4 defensive starters out. 4 defensive starters. That's why they gave 43 points to the Saints last week. Saints are a great offense. I'm not saying that Cincinnati's offense is on the Saints level right now. But you just mentioned Cincinnati's been playing well. They got off to a 21-0 start against the Baltimore Ravens.
I don't think it's going to last.
I don't think it's going to last either, but it's week 4.
Either way, I'm taking Atlanta over Cincy. This is going to be one where you're going to yell at me for, too. I'm taking Tampa Bay over Chicago. I think Fitzmagic's still going to ride out. He may have thrown a couple picks last week, but the man still threw for over 400 yards.
I'm not yelling.
The only thing that is going to stop Tampa Bay from winning this game is if that pass rush gets to Fitzpatrick before he can even get the ball out of his hands.
Khalil.
That's going to be the one reason why Chicago can win this game is because of their pass rush.
That's what I think of.
Yeah.
When I think of the Bears now, I just think Khalil Mack, and he's the only person on the team.
So also, what's the one thing that
gonna
Tampa
lie.
Bay has done very well this year in the passing game?
Deep balls.
Deep balls. You get that pass rush to Fitzpatrick, there's gonna be no time for that deep ball. So I think if I'm Tampa Bay, if I gotta make adjustments, I'd start looking for Deshaun Jackson and company. Quick slants. I mean, Deshaun Jackson, we've seen it plenty of times, especially in Philly, just a quick slant where he can still run 80 yards downfield. I don't want to bring up the pass, Cole, but Detroit at Dallas. Detroit at Dallas. I'm taking Detroit.
Oh, I swayed you, huh? Yeah, I'm with you. Something about it. I just have a feeling Detroit's getting in there. Right? Paul, what do you think? Detroit at Dallas.
Dallas.
Oh.
Dallas is going against me here. All right, Buffalo at Green Bay. All right. I know
Bias.
there's no bias here. I'm actually going against the Bills. I'm taking Green Bay. But I wouldn't be surprised though if Buffalo still somehow finds if their defense plays good again,
They got a chance.
they still have a chance.
See, they definitely have a chance because Green Bay, I really don't think is that special this year. Aaron Rodgers is playing on an injured knee, and he doesn't have a lot of pieces around him. Their defense is
doesn't.
not that good.
His wide receiving core is not as strong as it was in years prior either.
They just got
Losing
spanked by
Jordy
Washington
Nelson,
last
losing Jordy Nelson too was like probably him losing his younger brother.
It's his best hookup
Yeah,
for years.
exactly. Jimmy Graham has kind of been quiet too since his arrival in Green Bay.
I wasn't expecting a lot of the Jimmy. He's getting old. He's not the same Jimmy Graham he was.
Philly at Tennessee. Taking Philly.
Paul says Philly.
All right, Paul agrees this time. Houston at Indy. I think me and you were really kind of going back and forth on this one. I think this is going to be a very good matchup, but I don't see Houston dropping another one.
No, it's the same with. We'll get to it. Cleveland at Oakland. There's just some pieces about both these teams I don't see how they could possibly go 0-4.
I can make a really hot take right now. I don't know what Houston's schedule looks like, but if they win today, this could be a huge turnaround in their season, and then Deshaun Watson finally find his groove and then just start going.
Find the magic he had last year.
Would love to see it because such a tragic way to end the season last year, which is what got me on the Deshaun Watson. Super talented, you hate to see something happen like that. So I'm taking Houston. Miami at New England. Nails kind of had a little argument about this one too earlier. I'm taking New England. You told me not to count out Miami. I'm not exactly counting out Miami. I told you what I think is going to happen. Even with the poor supporting cast that Brady has, I still think he's going to find a way to put up points against Miami. It's only a matter of time for Miami starts losing. They're not going to be 4-0. I'm sorry.
They are going to be 4-0. The Miami Dolphins are going to be 4-0, and then the tracks are going to start booting the train the wrong way.
The Brady Belichick Kraft era is over?
I'm not saying it's over. It's week 4. They're only 1-3.
You lose to Miami, though. Things are going to start happening.
They statistically don't have a good record in September. They win the games when it matters in November, December, down the stretch.
September matters
and that's
just
going to
as
be
much as it does in December.
It does matter. I'm saying down the stretch is more where they come together and they're a football team that wins and they get in that zone. They don't lose. They're going to have Julian Edelman back after that. That's going to be Brady's biggest target. They're going to have a couple of their defensive pieces like Flowers and Patrick Chung back. I think they lose this week. People are going to start freaking out. The Dolphins are going to be off their rocker 4-0, but then they're going to start losing.
They're going to drop their next 12.
One thing about the New England struggle. Teams have just been covering, double covering Gronk, and Brady has nobody else to throw to. If teams just do that, Brady has no weapons until Edelman comes back.
We talked about Philip Dorsett basically being their number one wide receiver right now.
Cut from Indianapolis.
I mean, and then again, I thought going into the year Chris Hogan was going to be New England's number one wide receiver going in through week 4 without Edelman because he was really the only solid returning wide receiver from last year. And he hasn't made any noise so far.
Sure.
Jets at Jacksonville. I think this is going to be a tough game for Sam Darnold. We talked about him making mistakes and going up against a very tough Jacksonville defense. I think this is going to be a abysmal of a game for Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
He's gonna wake up Monday morning from his worst nightmare.
I can see that. I think week 4 is a good spot where all the good things we've seen from young quarterbacks start to turn, come back to reality, and we'll get to the Monday night game in a minute. I'll let you know about that.
Start with now over the 4 p.m. games. Cleveland at Oakland. I'm taking Cleveland. I think I'm gonna agree with you. This is gonna be Baker's big prove it game.
So who are you going with?
I'm taking Cleveland.
Alrighty, I'm taking Oakland. I don't see this team going 0-4. They have too much. They have too much to. I mean, they have weapons. They have John Gruden at the helm. I don't know. I don't see this team going 0-4.
It also kind of threw me into because also John Gruden needs to win a game soon. Oakland's gonna be calling for Gruden's head if they lose this game.
Oh, of course, especially if it's the Cleveland.
Huge raucous fan base in Oakland too. As mentioned before, the Black Hole is almost more crazier than Buffalo. But I'm taking Cleveland. I mean, like you said, the weapons that they have and everything. It's even with Tyrod too. I thought that they could have been a wild card with Baker, and if they can really turn this thing around, it'll be interesting going down the stretch just thinking about it. Seattle at Arizona. We've talked about Seattle, but I'm taking Arizona. I think Arizona has a sneaky defense. And with a terrible Seattle offensive line, I think they're just going to make Russell Wilson's day hell on Sunday.
But if you saw what happened last week with Seattle against the Cowboys, I think the Cowboys' defense is their strong suit. They were all over Russell Wilson the entire game, and he kept his composure, and he was throwing bullets around that field. And gave Seattle the win because of his play. So I have Seattle winning in Arizona as my third most confident pick of the week. Russell Wilson is going to keep it up.
The only way
not going to score points.
The only way, but see, you don't know what Josh Rosen's going to do. You don't. Like I said, we can't tell the future. But the only way that I see Arizona losing this game is if Josh Rosen makes way too many mistakes. Lord knows that the ball will probably find Earl Thomas once or twice if he does. Like the only relatively good defensive back right now on that remaining Legion of Boom.
Legion of Doom.
New Orleans at the Giants. I am taking New Orleans.
Alright. Yeah, I'm taking... I picked against the Giants last week. They won in Houston. I'm taking the Giants at home. I think their defense they're missing two big pieces in Olivier Vernon and Eli Apple, but I think they could contain Alvin Kamara as much as possible, and their offense started to take stride last week. Eli Manning looked good. So I'm taking the Giants. Get back even at 2-2.
I know you were talking about how the Giants' defense is a little underrated, but I'm sorry, for a team that's basically averaging 30-plus points a game, it's going to be tough for the Giants.
No, it's going to be tough. It's going to be down.
I don't think that the Giants are going to go up there and put up 30-plus in New Orleans. I don't.
In New York.
I still don't see it.
Okay, next game. Well,
Calm
I'm
down.
not disagreeing.
Calm down. No, you're getting mad because I'm going against
No,
your
I'm
team,
not.
man.
I completely understand that New Orleans is the better team right now.
San Fran
I'm
at the
just
Chargers.
picking upset. No, this is not an
Who
upset.
the hell is going to throw the ball for San Fran? Do we know that yet?
I don't know who the quarterback is.
We probably should have looked this up.
I have no clue. I don't even want to know.
Cole, give
It's
me a
over
filler
right
real
now.
quick while I can look this up.
Don't even look it up. I don't want to know.
I do.
I don't because it's over. It's already over. LA Chargers, they're my number one pick in my confidence pool. Chargers, I need Melvin Gordon and Mike Williams to step up in fantasy. So the Chargers, again, one of the best overall rosters from top to bottom in this league. They're going to be fighting for that division at the end of the year. The Chiefs, I can't wait till they match up again. They already matched up week 1. The Chiefs took the battle number 1.
CJ Beathard, and then they brought up Nick Mullins from their practice squad as a backup.
I wish I knew who they were.
Yeah, me too.
But I don't. So I think that's an easy lock. I would hope so. Even though 2 of the first 3 weeks, all my locks have lost. So.
Yeah. LA over San Fran. Then Sunday night, I think this is going to be a good game. This was a real head scratcher for me because I do not trust Big Ben. I do not. At all.
He's the reason they won last week.
I understand that, but again, you don't know which Ben Roethlisberger you're going to get week in, week out. You don't. I'm sorry. You could have the Big Ben, like I said, that's going to throw 5 touchdowns with 400 yards, but you can also have the Big Ben that's going to throw for 200 with 5 picks. You don't know what you're going to get with him week in and week out. After saying that, I am going to take Pittsburgh over Baltimore.
You just hyped it up so much.
I did.
I thought Baltimore was going to win.
I did. But, you know, a team that has struggled, I think Big Ben is really going to be a little more not conservative. You know, focus on how he needs to be successful for this team to be successful. Without Le'Veon Bell, but James Conner also proved they don't really need Le'Veon Bell in crunch time last week.
Yeah, this is going to be another classic AFC North battle. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, like it has, just tough, gritty. Who's going to hit who harder? The last 2 decades, like it's been the last 2
Pittsburgh,
decades.
Baltimore, and Cincy, all three of them, if any of them playing each other, it's always going to be a good game.
And on prime time, I think Pittsburgh shines in prime time. I'm taking Pittsburgh as well. This is time for them to bounce back. They've had a rough 3 weeks. Last week, the first half was phenomenal, but the second half, they almost blew it.
Antonio Brown came to play last week.
Yep.
Moving on to the Monday night game and the last game of the week. I said this is my lock of the week, but you disagreed with me.
Disagreed. Hardcore.
Kansas City at Denver. I'm taking Kansas City, even though they're on the road at Mile High Stadium.
Paul?
Kansas City.
He says Kansas City. A lot of confidence. Denver's going to win this game at home. Denver's a tough place to play. And Patrick Mahomes has been out of this world for 3 weeks. The man has the most passing touchdowns in the league with 13. He's going to come back to reality a little bit. He's going to beat around by a good Denver defense. Von Miller's going to get to him a few times. He has weapons, and we talked about this. He's got Travis Kelce, Hill, and Sammy Watkins.
Kareem Hunt out of the backfield.
Yes. And that's where they come in as a better team. They're definitely an overall better team than Denver, but this week they're going to come back to reality a little bit.
No.
They're going to come back to reality. Patrick Mahomes is not going to have the day he's had the last
If they're going to come back to reality, it's not going to be against the Denver Broncos.
Yes, it will.
It's not going to be against the Denver Broncos.
The Broncos have looked pretty decent through 3 weeks. Case Keenum's going to shine on Monday night. He's going to go back to his old days in Minnesota, bringing them to the NFC title game last year. Go Broncos. Not that I'm rooting for either team, but I just think it's a reality. It's going to be a reality check for Patrick Mahomes.
I think it's going to be a reality check for you when he throws 4
long.
more touchdowns.
If he does, good for him, but it's not going to keep up all season long. And I think this is the time where it's going to be one hiccup. It's just one hiccup. I still think the Chiefs are going to win the West. I just think this is going to be a hiccup.
I don't think it's going to be a hiccup.
I think Week 4 at Denver. It's a tough division game on prime time.
If there's any year that Kansas City was going to go out and win the division and have a very, very solid football team, I understand you just said that, but I don't think they're going to hiccup against the Denver Broncos. All right, I think
you act like the Denver Broncos haven't won a game in 3 years.
I'm saying the matchup of Kansas City at Denver, I understand it. Again, it's in Denver, but no. Their offense is too good. Their weapons, they have way too many weapons. I think if you put Kansas City, I want to check the schedules. If Kansas City against LA, that could be another shootout.
Yeah, probably will be.
But that'll do for Priesters Picks and for this week of our Week 4 preview and a little bit of a Week 3 recap. I'll probably be back Wednesday to focus a little less on football, a little bit more on Major League Baseball as the postseason is starting next week. We'll have a full postseason picture for you along with our predictions on what is going to happen. We are looking now at the Chiefs' schedule.
Yeah, they have a tough schedule.
Patriots.
They got the Jags, Patriots, Bengals all back to back to back.
It'll be tough, but I still think that they get at least, I'm going to say 10 or 11 wins.
Fair enough.
So many years of mediocrity and average, or like averageness, if that's a word.
Tioli.
Yeah, maybe we could finally get Kansas City to the AFC title game for once.
All right, but that'll do for Beyond the Box Score here in Buffalo, New York. Connor Priester alongside Cole Johnson and our stats analyst, Paul Barker.
Paulie B. Yeah.
Oh, breaking news.
Oh,
Des Bryant answers a fan's tweet about signing with an NFL team and says soon.
We're not sure who yet. It's a mystery.
Not sure who.
It's a mystery. Well, thank you for listening, however you may be listening. Beyond the Box Score. Have a good night.